Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gucci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Thursday. It is Thursday, March the 9th, 2023. And of course, your host of the most, Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci, back in the house right here at Shop Studios in Matawan, New Jersey. I hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope everybody enjoys or has enjoyed their week so far. A lot of action going down, whether it be in the NBA or obviously all the stuff that's been going on.
NFL offseason is lit.
Yes, as the kids say, it is lit. He's older than me, says lit. I don't say these things. But that's okay. There's a lot going on. Obviously, yesterday we had a great conversation with Mike Renner of Pro Football Focus. Real good conversation. We'll get into that when we get into our NFL. But first, we got to start in the NBA. And before I get into any of the game results, can you make this up? Did you see Kevin Durant go down in warm-ups last night? That is catastrophic. The guy is doing layup drills. Slips, the whole thing looks horrible, and he goes down,
Was it a
ruled
home
out.
game?
Huh?
Home game?
I don't know. I don't think so. In front of the home.
If it was a slip and fall, then who's the guy in charge of that sweat?
Well, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it was a home game, so that guy got fired. No, but it was just, again, you look at these games, they're set up to do whatever, and all of a sudden you're in layup drills and you go down, and it's Kevin Durant. So, I'm not about to poke fun at anybody's aesthetic or look, but his ankles are like this big. Every time I see that guy, I'm like, well, I know why you tore your Achilles. I know why these things happen. But this is bad because, again, MRI to follow. He's not the only one that got hurt yesterday, which is, again, alarming in the West. But for him, if the Suns lose Durant for an extended period of time,
it's over.
That was their piece.
They had like an outside chance at making a little bit of noise in the postseason as their roster stood.
Yeah.
When they still had some of their weapons or their depth. Now they got rid of all their depth, and if they have no Durant, they have no hope.
To me, you added Durant because you think you're about to go on a run, and without Durant, I don't know. Booker absolutely went off last night, so it's fine. They won 132-101. Booker goes for 44. They're still a good team. They're not going to miss the playoff.
They're going to weather the storm if Durant's not really.
It could be something.
Injured.
It could be something very.
It could be day to day.
Right.
MRI though, when they schedule an MRI and not, they don't say we're going to reevaluate him tomorrow. It's like, there's an MRI tomorrow. Could be a little.
He's not the only one with an MRI. Luca goes down yesterday after starting 4 for 14 from the floor. Luca injures his thigh. Now, when they asked him what happened, he said, "Look, I've been dealing with this specific injury," which again, no news to anybody. Nobody knew about this, but he says he's been dealing with this since the second game after the All-Star break. So a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks it's been since the All-Star game, and this guy's been playing through it. So now Luka's going to get an MRI on his thigh. We'll figure out what happens there. He goes way under his mark of a liquid prop because he doesn't play.
Remember when we were talking about the reason why the NBA season is important, or it's not just meaningless, because now this is what you're starting to see, the guys that just it's a grind. You got to get there throughout the whole thing.
It is. And Dallas is a specific team that needs to keep winning because right now they are sitting at the 8th spot, up a game and a half over the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 7-3 in their last 10 without LeBron.
Oh, what did I say?
Hello. So Lakers going on a little bit of a run-ski.
I wonder what AD's averaging over that stretch.
I don't know, but you know who's not doing anything? Russell Westbrook's over the Clippers now. But Russ Westbrook was also one of the liquid props yesterday. Okay. He was set at 26.9 for his points and rebounds, and he scored 7 points and had 2 rebounds.
Did you see the game the other day?
He took 6 shots.
It was the Clippers Warriors game, and Draymond Green was talking after the game, and he said, there's a guy they were showing highlights, and every time Westbrook had the ball, bro, they backed off of him. They had 15. It was Ben Simmons treatment, and he wouldn't shoot. Do
you think he's just got does that happen to a guy? Over the course of time when your confidence is super down, you're just not going to be able to pull the trigger?
He does not believe in the only way Russ is bringing offense at this point in his career is attacking the basket. But they don't have any respect for his jump shot, and I think it's crept into his head because he used to let him fly. He used to let him rip.
Yeah.
Do you remember Russ last year in the beginning of the season there talking about his shooting ability, and he was like, I got 12,000 points in this league or whatever it was. Well, you might not finish with any more than that.
You might never score again.
You're gonna have to shoot.
Yeah, just a bad game overall. He only, like I said, he only took 6 shots, so they were there. He just wasn't taking them. He was dishing them off. We spoke about Dallas before. They lost their game. This one will make you tear your hair out if you're a prop better or a liquid prop better with Mojo Market. His over/under for Kyrie Irving was 27.85. He scores 27 points. So we just can't get that over, and you probably want to rip your hair out if you bet that last night. That's unfortunate. Kawhi Leonard, another one who goes under. He was set at 27.7. He goes 24. But the bigger picture here is that the Clippers got the win, much needed win. So Kawhi doesn't do much there. But again,
so if you took the over on Kawhi, you didn't win, but they won. They won. So
everybody's happy,
all
right?
good.
Or at least the Clippers fans are happy. So that's the Clippers. That's last night. Also, college news. It's unfortunate, but because obviously I'm a Knicks guy, so Patrick Ewing has a spot in my heart forever. He gets blown out 80-48 in the Big East tournament, and now there's like questions about his future with Georgetown. And I'm like,
God, who cares?
He hasn't shown that he's a good coach.
Yeah, he's got to go.
He's there because he's alumni. You know what I mean? Like he's there to be a feel-good story.
Retired.
Jim Boeheim retired yesterday after 50,000 years of coaching.
I still feel like I say his name wrong every time I say it.
Because you're looking at it and it looks like Boeheim.
Yeah,
and it's Boeheim.
Looks like Boeheim.
Yeah, but he retired as well. A legendary coach in the sport of basketball, college basketball to be specific. But anyway. Tonight, back on the floor, you got the Nets and the Bucks going at it. The Nets have been quietly playing okay basketball, minus all their stars. What's this guy is an absolute star in the making. The Bridges, they traded over him for the Durant deal, right? So it's just like, all right, new place, new face, new town. Can he adjust? He's adjusted pretty well over there, and the Nets are still winning ball games. They're 4-6 in their last 10, which is again not ideal, especially down the stretch. But they're holding firm, a 3-game lead from the 6th to the 7th spot. So if they just weather the storm and play like 500 ball throughout the course of the rest of whatever,
they'll get
in and they'll
get decimated by the Celtics in the first round.
Probably. So that happens. The Knicks are back tonight in action in Sacramento. So if you got the energy, they're starting at 10 o'clock at night. I know I will be in my 4th dream by that.
It's a good game.
It is.
It's a good test for the Knicks to go out west against a team that I don't know how they're playing.
Kings came out of nowhere, man.
But when you look at their roster,
dude, they were being excommunicated from the NBA a couple years ago. I feel like they're like, the Kings aren't going to be a franchise anymore. They're going to fall.
One of those trades that I scratched my head at the Halliburton and Sabonis trade last year. It didn't make sense. I thought Sabonis, like, why would the Pacers try and move off from him? And conversely, with the Kings, I thought that they should have kept Halliburton. Both trades worked out for both teams. I mean, I don't know. Pacers kind of tailed off a little bit, but they were really good in the beginning of the year.
Pacers right now are 2 games behind the 10-spot play-in game. So it's like they're there. I mean, all the teams in the East are there except, obviously, for the Hornets and the Pistons. But again, I still can't get over the Hornets beating the Knicks the other night.
Right,
That's a bad loss. That's just a bad loss. But anyway. That's the NBA last night. Again, loaded slate from last night, loaded slate tonight. Keep your tabs on the Mojo app as they announce consistently who the liquid prop bets are. Again, usually in the afternoon, so you got plenty of time to do all your research, place your smart bets, do it responsibly. Now, moving on to the NFL. A lot of stuff to cover because, again, we had Mike Renner on yesterday. You could see that video in its entirety right here on the YouTube channel, on Mojo's YouTube channel. But just to recap, some of the things that really stood out to me is that we've discovered that he's a Packer guy, so he is one of your brethren. But the big thing was he thinks that the Green Bay Packers are going to get a 1 from the desperate New York Jets. Do you agree with that?
I kind of do.
You said, you said it months ago that it's going to warrant a 1. I said, there's no way. But now, how desperate do the Jets get?
I think that there was a point where it was potentially going to be 2 1s if there was more than one suitor. There's not.
Right. There's literally only, it looks like it's down to 1.
And realistically, that, as I thought further about it, Rodgers is the decider of things here. So it wasn't going to be 2 1s ever. The Jets are desperate. But the thing is, it's like, I don't know how much leverage the Packers have to dangle Rodgers over their head because the Packers are fairly desperate as well. So it's not like it could be a thing where it's like, look, we know you need to move on from Rodgers. We know you want him. We know you're the only team. We know that we're the only team. So
but
you're gonna have to kind of just come up with some amicable.
I have this feeling, right? And like I said, I've been saying it since Jump Street. Jets, pony up. Do everything you can under the sun to get this guy as your quarterback. I just feel like there's going to be another team that swoops in and says, wait a minute, the Jets are offering what? We could definitely do better. And then, it leaks out that there's some kind of offer on the table.
But then they're like, okay, all of a sudden the Commanders come in and the Packers are like, all right, we'll kick the idea around of trading him to the Commanders. And then they agree to compensation and they say, Rodgers, you're going to go to the Commanders. And you'd be like, well, no, I'm not. I retire. How are you going to trade me? I retired.
The Gronk, the old Detroit Lions, the Gronk
And then
move.
he does retire because it's like, I'm not going there. So
it's really up to Rodgers.
It is. It takes a little bit of leverage away. And again, it goes to the point of the same thing we talked about with Derek Carr. Why is Rodgers going to give the Packers more leverage in this deal if he's going to go to the team? It's not like he's trying to help Green Bay anymore.
It's true.
I think it's going to be a 1, but it's not going to be much money, or it's going to be a ton of money and like a 2. But I think that at the very least, the Packers are getting a second-round pick from the Jets, at the very least.
But
maybe a player.
Could be a player, but we also said that it's going to take the Jets to eat a lot of that money off the top.
I'm very curious because it's a unique situation where it's like the caliber of player, where he's at in his career, takes some of that away. The desperation for the New York Jets to just, we're a quarterback away. A lot of variables here. It could go anywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised. If they were like, oh, they got a 1 and a 3 and got a lot of the money taken, I'd be like, well, the Jets were desperate. If they got none of those things and just all the contract taken, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense.
My biggest thing is I wonder if the Jets do feel desperate. I wonder if the Jets are sitting there and saying, like, if we don't get Rodgers, there are other options on the table that we like. The fans might not like it. The fans might get go in an uproar and burn down MetLife. But they might covet Jimmy G. They might covet another one of these guys.
The Jets fan base will be
absolutely no. They're all clamoring for this guy.
If Rodgers becomes a Jet with the roster that they have there right now, that's a really good football team. I don't think that they're really I don't think you can make the case that they're the best team in the AFC out of the gate. We have too many things to see. The Chiefs exist, the Bills exist, but the AFC is loaded.
Question for you: and try very hard to take your Packer fanhood out of this. If Aaron Rodgers right now gets traded to the New York Jets, and he's sitting there with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and Elijah Mitchell and that offense and that defense, is this one of the best teams that Rodgers has ever played on in his career?
No.
Roster-wise, no. I understand. I said one of the best, not the best. I'm saying, is this top up? Like, because there's been times where Rodgers had to carry the Packers the entire time, only to get bounced in whatever round.
I don't know,
because the team wasn't balanced.
There's been some really good football teams that he's played on. They've been the 1 seed a ton of times.
Truth.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested.
The Packers have been a perennial contender for the last 15 years. I don't know. The Jets could go out there with Rodgers and dud. How could you say,
this is very true. You never know in the NFL. Somebody that Mike Renner was drooling over is Quentin Johnston of TCU, the wide receiver. It seems like he's going to be the most coveted receiver coming out of the draft. One, because of his size. He is the biggest of the receivers. And the biggest piggyback I have off of that is that he said that this class of receivers is not as good as last year's class, which I was kind of shocked. I thought for sure that this was on par with last year.
That's because we've gotten that year after year. And a lot of the big names in college football at receiver, there's a ton of them. It's next year. And, like a lot of these guys, it's weird too for me because of the COVID thing. I just don't know what year anyone's in anymore. Right. So it's like I have to the
triple check. The 8th-year senior takes the field. It's just like, what? It's like, well, yeah. But that's interesting. And of course, the one thing that really kind of boggled my mind. I said it on Twitter a couple weeks back, and Cowboys Nation came after me, and I'm one of you guys. I am a member of Cowboys Nation, but I said that the Cowboys draft Bijan Robinson. Renner also says the Cowboys could draft Bijan Robinson. Everybody knows that the Zeke thing is coming to a head, whether it be a massive pay cut or just an outright, thanks for coming, thanks for everything. And Bijan Robinson to be stacked with Tony Pollard, that running game would be absolutely nuts. I think.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he gets there. And if he does, I still don't think that they could do it because, man, isn't there a cautionary tale right in front of your face where you lost Cooper? I know you're a Zeke guy, but if you had Amari Cooper on that roster this year, it opens things up a ton. And you could take literally hand pick any short yardage back in the NFL, and they would have had 12 touchdowns. on that.
Yeah, you could have Jamal Williams for $2 million rather than 16 with Zeke.
Or draft Tyler Algier in the 4th round. Like that's what I'm getting
The
at.
problem with the Cowboys is that they covet these guys. It's like the Jones family, and with like whether or not you want to believe this or not, the Jones family are not football guys. They're really not. Like it's really all the scouting department and everybody that works, Will McClay and everybody behind the scenes. The Joneses are all about who's going to sell me the most jerseys, who's going to be branded, who's going to do this. Bro, you know how much money this guy made off of a quote when Zeke was holding out? Zeke was holding out, and Tony Pollard had himself a day in camp, and they asked Jerry Jones, well, what do you think about Zeke? And he goes, Zeke who? Right? And all of a sudden, there's a Zeke who t-shirt on DallasCowboysShop.com. That's what I'm saying. This guy, like, I'm a fan. I love this team. I really do covet this team.
The only
They're near and dear to my heart.
They
But
do
Jesus.
is because what he said yesterday, Mike Renner said yesterday, it's like a brand building pick where they really do believe in the running back position because they're stuck in the old school. This is not 1990
They want
anymore.
Emmett again. They want Emmett again, right?
Exactly. And honestly, Zeke, it worked in that sense. Like, I guarantee you the Cowboys didn't lose money over the Zeke deal, right?
No,
they're making money.
They probably made
understand
money.
A running back is a star. They don't want to draft another tackle in the first round.
It's just, look.
I don't know where they go with the first round, but if the running back is there, I hope for your sake that he's not. Because then you're going to be stuck in the same position. It'll be exciting.
I want him off the
player.
table, too.
You'll enjoy the player because if he's there, you're going to be stuck in that spot.
I haven't been this nervous for a Cowboys draft since 2014 when Johnny Manziel was on the board. And I was like, I swear to God, like if Jerry just pulls this trigger, because we knew Tony Romo was getting older and Johnny Manziel is Mr. Money. He's already got the patent, the thing with her. And I'm like, oh, God, if Jerry does this, I'm going to lose my mind. But, of course, they used their head, and they drafted a future Hall of Fame guard in Zach Martin instead. Thank God. But now this, again, situation is presenting itself to potentially get a game-changing running back at 26, and I'm just like,
look, a lot of things have to happen for that to even become a possibility.
I agree.
25 other picks go down.
I agree. So we'll see about that. Now, a couple little tidbits on the NFL. A restructure was done on not one but two of the Chargers receivers, opening up $14 million. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both restructuring their deals. Is this for the now, or is this for like, hey, we got to pay Justin Herbert like in about a minute and a half?
It's both. It's definitely both. I don't know. I have to look at the deal here because it might actually be a detriment in some ways if when
they're saving 14 right now
this year. So you would imagine the cap is going to be hit with these numbers a little bit.
Sure, but
next year or the year after when Herbert's due. So
maybe they extend Herbert now.
Yeah.
Well,
Herbert's definitely not going to touch free agency. That's going down way sooner than we.
Fine, but I'm saying like maybe these teams that have these franchise quarterbacks that know they're the future. There's no debate. There's no like, hey, can Dak win a game or two? Justin Herbert is the guy over there. So you could bring him to the negotiation table right now. Him, Joe Burrow, those guys you can bring right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I mean.
And not even let him get to the fourth.
Also, careful if you're Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow trying to sign an extension now, because if you wait till the right time, you might get $10 million more per because it's the way the market's been going.
And the salary cap goes up every year. So, like, there's more money to spend. So that's a big deal over there in Los Angeles. They're trying to make some moves. I do have to bring this up. So yesterday, obviously, we're talking about Lamar Jackson and the non-exclusive franchise tag, or 2 days ago. I don't remember. But it happened, right? At the deadline. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. But whatever the case may be. When he did it, and then Daniel Jones got his bag, right? A lot of NFL players are in an uproar saying, like, dude, wait a minute. Like, this guy's an MVP. How do you pay this guy? And I said this yesterday, and I want to, like, just hammer it home. If you know you got your guy, you're going to pay that guy, right? I don't think the Baltimore Ravens know they got their guy, right? I think they're still tiptoeing around the situation. Listen, you're gonna read a lot of stuff. You're gonna read a lot of stuff about what's the reason why? What's the reason why people are gonna come up with their conspiracy theories? People are gonna.
If everyone thinks that Daniel Jones got paid,
he did though. He did.
All right, fine. He got paid. He did. He got what he deserved. I think Lamar deserves more. But if Lamar got offered, I'm sure the Ravens would pay Lamar the same deal. So if
100%
everyone's like, he got paid. He got his bag. Well, go get your bag. I'm sure they're offering you a ton of money.
This is such a huge thing.
He wants guaranteed money. He needs an agent. Everyone's in uproar
that's where
talking about Daniel Jones money.
Call up Daniel Jones' agent.
Gino just got 35 per. What do you think Daniel Jones is worth if Gino's getting 35 per? Kirk Cousins, what is he making, 40? Right?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is a younger version of Kirk Cousins.
You better hope not, because there's no success over there.
I mean, but at the same time, hope so, because Kirk Cousins makes the Vikings a fairly decent team every year. Like, they're contending for the playoffs. You're not looking at the season and saying, like, well, they have no shot this year because of Kirk Cousins. I'm saying that.
Listen.
But
I'm on team Baltimore here because I truly believe, and I've said this for a long time, I think that they're hesitant to pay this guy because of A, all the guaranteed money he wants, B, the style of play he has. Like, you cannot make that's not sustainable. It's not.
It shouldn't be sustainable for Daniel Jones either, because he had
700. But it's not.
But he had 700 rush yards. So if that's the case, he's running the ball too much too.
Correct, but he's being a selective runner like a Josh Allen. Josh Allen isn't going to start taking off every down.
Well,
Lamar Jackson runs an RPO every play, it seems.
That's not his. You say style of play, right? Lamar Jackson's not calling those. I can promise you. He wants to throw it a little bit too. They're devaluing his contract with this style, and I think this is what Bateman was talking about. It's like, what do you want us to do if you're, how do you want me to put up big numbers? How do you're not letting me throw? I'm running the ball RPO every single time, so it's like, of course my stats are down. Of course I have no receivers, and we're not throwing. So, and I also think that Daniel Jones, I watched second half this year. He was keeping it a lot, and it was designed. Like, they were designing a lot of plays for him.
He's a big boy.
Again, not his fault. Right. That's how you win football games.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Listen, again, the market's different. I'm in the belief that I don't know if Lamar Jackson is cracked out to be all this. I
still think Lamar's
He won an MVP because he was the next thing that came out of college that shocked the world of how he was a human joystick, man. That's why you win MVP.
You're seeing here is the rest of the league. The Ravens are saying, okay, go get paid, right? Go get paid.
Good luck.
He's not gonna. But it's almost a shitty thing because
it's all right.
The Ravens are saying, okay, go get paid. Go find out if you're worth that. And then they're gonna be like, see, you're not worth that. And it's like, well, no. Take the 2 first-rounders away, and then he might get paid from someone else. That's why nobody wants to deal with it.
It's interesting.
I still think Lamar is a Raven next year.
Before we get out of here, I do want to touch on...
He might actually hold out, which is going to be crazy, but he may be the one guy that actually says, you know what, I'm not playing on this deal, and sits out a full year. Watch. Might actually happen.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's not. Do I think that this guy can afford to sit out? I don't know.
I mean, he could afford it.
I mean, I don't know. Well, one, he's not paying an agent, so he keep that 10% or whatever it is.
He will not get injured in that one season. And guess who else sat out of the season?
Deshaun Watson.
Guess how much he got paid?
A whole boatload of money. But again,
same age.
You can't even compare the two because one won an MVP. One doesn't have any scandals outside the NFL, and he's still struggling to get paid. So something's up. Maybe Deshaun Watson is just a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. That's not out of the realm of possibilities either. No,
the Browns GM is an idiot.
Well, that's true, too.
Sorry. Jimmy Haslam is his name?
Sure.
I don't really think he's an idiot.
Smart guys in front office.
And the Ravens aren't. The Ravens are a smarter front office. They just won't give that deal away because they're desperation. Much like what I'm hoping the Jets do to Packers right now.
We'll see. Before we get out of here, we're piggybacking off the Renner interview from yesterday where he's saying it's slim pickings for the receiver class, or at least not as deep as the other one. Then you look at the free agent class, and it's headlined by OBJ, who, again, you don't really know what you're getting out of him. There's been rumors circling around. Is this season more prominent to give up some of your draft capital because of the deep class to go get yourself a star like a DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at his mock yesterday. There wasn't too many receivers, and he's saying outside the top 4 or 5, there's a major drop off. Well, guess what? A second round pick will get you this offseason. DeAndre Hopkins. So if we're looking at these 5 guys are off the board, and Hopkins came out recently and said that he's willing to be flexible with his new contract, which is a very good thing to hear from a guy that's on the opposite side of 30 or the wrong side of 30, that's looking to keep his career going and win some football games. Because you're at a point now where you want to win some football games, you're going to have to take a little bit less.
Think about the wasted time that DeAndre Hopkins is going to have in Arizona next year when he has Colt McCoy throwing him, whoever the backup, or Trace McSorley, whoever the quarterback is.
First, it's like when you're a receiver at this point in his career, I don't think a receiver, when you're a skill position player, it goes fast. So you want to sit around on a first-year head coach.
Your phrase, ring chasing.
Yeah.
He's ring chasing. He's going to go to a contender. So I'm interested to see how that plays out because, again, If you're down a receiver and you want to start, every team that's sitting there saying we need to add help around our quarterback, well, guess what? He's sitting there with a second-round pick and a possible renegotiation. Like, that's the way to do it.
Definite renegotiation, 100%. And one that when the players start talking, like a guy that's been wanting money for the last 10 years, talks about, I want to win.
Right. And that's what, hey, listen, the name of the game.
Probably
everybody wants the gold jacket. And before we wrap up the NFL, there is a new article surfacing right now on NFL.com about the Jimmy G market. Now, look, I feel like Jimmy G's been kind of left on the back burner because, A, he's not Lamar or Aaron or Derek Carr. I don't think he's either of those three guys. And he's not Daniel Jones, apparently. But, nobody can actually sign him. Daniel Jones was signed because he was, with the Giants. But Jimmy G now has, according to reports, has 3 suitors. I want the best one out of you. Panthers, Raiders, Texans. What is the best situation for Jimmy G to be in next season?
The Raiders.
The Raiders. I'm in lockstep with you because obviously the best receiver out of those 3 is Devontae Adams. Plays for the Raiders. I think it's a great spot for him. And he would be reunited with Josh McDaniels.
And honestly, they have the best running back, and that's all he knows how to do.
Here, you take it. I don't want it.
Funny.
Funny, but it's sad, but it's true. But anyway, Jimmy G is in line to get paid as well. I don't know if he's going to. Do you think he touches the Derek Carr money?
No, bro, no.
Not even close?
No. Jimmy G is a fringe starter / you're about to be our backup, so we're going to pay you kind of that
But
money.
that's not fair because the guy was the starter until he went down.
If you're bringing in Jimmy G to start for the next 3 years, you're making a big mistake. That's simple.
So
he's a stopgap. He's a 2-year deal guy, 2 years at a time. With an out after 1. That's the way Jimmy G gets approached going forward. And honestly, a nice career to be made for that way. For Jimmy G, because he'll always be good enough
Welcome to the wonderful world of Andy Dalton.
You know he's willing to take the backseat, play second fiddle in the situation because he's done it several times throughout his career. Now, obviously, there's limitations to his game. And I think he knows that. So limitations to his game, but has the locker room, has the huddle. The teammates have confidence in him. You know what I just described, right? A really good backup quarterback. Jimmy G.
Andy Dalton, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, do us a favor. Follow us right now on social media at Mojo, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You can also obviously subscribe to this YouTube channel for all the exclusive stuff that we got going on over here. A couple interviews. We've sat down with some awesome people in this offseason so far. You can join the Discord as well. It's a daily conversation every day about the Mojo Market and all your stocks and your portfolios. And we're going to keep building that up every time we think that it's time to segue into like the NBA, which it is. It's deep NBA season, and they just launched NBA, so we're excited about that. The NFL is such a juggernaut, man. The NFL takes over. NFL is a 365 sport, no matter what. There is literally like a 2-week lull period where we're like, I don't know what to do. And then next thing you know, bang, the combine's here, and bang, it's draft season, and bang, the new league year, and all that stuff.
After combine and after the draft,
there's the lull.
Is when it really lulls.
There's
out.
the lull. Yeah, after the free
June,
agency.
Then I'm in Walgreens and I see like, is that Herbert? And I see my fantasy magazine for the first time. Like,
and you're just like you get really excited. The world just slows down for that second. All your tunnel vision is just on Justin Herbert's
I'm like, wow,
face.
how much is it this year? And then now it's like the fantasy magazines are like $31. I buy it. I don't open it.
Wait, first of all, in the world of tech, why are you buying fantasy magazines?
Nostalgia pulls, bro. And honestly, there's something to be said. I don't need the fantasy. I am a fantasy magazine.
Oh,
just so we're clear.
Right? I am Queens Boulevard.
But when it comes you're on draft day or you're sitting there, you have to use the restroom. You know, you got somebody that's coming in to use the studio. It's nice to have fantasy baseball magazines, fantasy football magazines. They're the best reading material. You'd be surprised what kind of tidbits you get throughout the season.
Unless you're Jimmy Palumbo and you read the Post.
and I love going back the year before and the year before.
Just to see where they ranked and where they fell.
It's cool.
The problem is if I get a magazine, usually it's docked up because I'm using it and I'm crossing names off. So it's like
Dave's a child, ladies and gentlemen, who does not know how to use.
Who's denying that? I'm not denying that at all.
The tech. You just talked about tech.
I got apps galore on this thing, especially the Mojo app.
When I draft, I don't have to cross anything out because on the draft room it crosses them out for you.
Not if you're at a live draft with the stickers.
So Dave, you buy magazines still?
Sometimes.
Right, but the magazines, I think, when you're in a pinch, draft day, you get to like flip to like sleepers, or you see things organized for you. Whereas online, you can't like look at running backs, and you have to tab it up. My draft is happening online.
How long before the first printed press Mojo magazine? Let's get that going. I'll be a writer. I can go back to my old writing days.
I'll read it.
He'll read it. He'll put it right in the bathroom at Shop Studios for that beautiful reading material. So for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci, this has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. Back here tomorrow on a Feel Good Friday. See you guys tomorrow.